Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Slade, the Buffyverse Revisited. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Jeremy.
I'm your other host, James.
James, this week, we are going to fondle our way into Season 7, Episode 20, Touched.
Okay.
That's what we're doing. Listen, I don't make the rules, I just enforce them.
Okay, well, I don't know what to say.
You don't know how you feel?
I don't know how I feel about that. You know what I do feel? Last week, I feel like betraying our way into that episode was an apt description because I felt betrayed by the writers after that.
I have felt
drizzling shit show.
I have felt betrayed by the writers numerous times throughout the 7 seasons of Buffy. So, at least it was a feeling I was familiar with.
That's true. Well,
James, how the fuck are you doing? You piece of shit.
I'm doing pretty fucking good, you son of a bitch. I couldn't think. You took piece of shit. I couldn't think of anything.
Well, you could have called me an ass bag.
I could have called you an ass bag, a douche hat.
A douche hat. A fuck canoe.
A fuck canoe. There's so many directions I could have gone, but I just blanked in the moment.
Yeah, I hear that happens to you a lot. What? No?
It's not appropriate. I don't appreciate it.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
I am good. I am very good. And yourself?
No one cares about me at all.
Wow.
Let's be real.
Wow. Okay then.
All right. No, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. You're fine. We're all fine. Everybody's fine. And there's absolutely nothing new, interesting, or exciting to talk about. Quite frankly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The world's not on fire or anything.
No. No, everything is, as far as the world goes and the country and everything, I mean, have we ever had so much winning?
Sometimes I'll be sitting working at the computer and I will stop and I will think to myself, how are we expected to just go on with every day like everything is normal?
Well, you just have to remember how much winning we're doing.
That's true. I do sometimes forget how hard we're winning.
I mean, have we as a people ever won so much that, that's the...
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's just the winning is insane.
It is insane. It is.
It is.
Truly.
True.
Well, Jeremy, do you have anything to take us into the weeds this week?
No, I handled last week, so you get this week.
Oh. Well, in that case, we will be fondling our way into into Buffy the Vampire, the 20th episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 7, the 142nd episode of the series overall, Touched. Our episode credited writer this week, Rebecca Rand Kirshner, and our credited director is David Solomon. Our original air date was May 6th, 2003 on the now defunct UPN network. Our Nielsen rating for this episode, 2.6, ranking at 91 out of the 104 primetime shows airing across network television that week, and number 3 out of the 10 primetime shows airing on UPN for the week. Our regular cast, as always, includes Sarah Michelle Gellar as Buffy, Nicholas Brendan as Xander, Emma Caulfield as Anya, Michelle Trachtenberg as Dawn, not Spike, James Marsters as Spike, Allison Hannigan as Willow, Tom Link as Andrew, Lyria Lemon as Kennedy, Sarah Hagen as Amanda, D.B. Woodside as Principal Wood, Felicia Day as V or Vi, Dania Ramirez as Caridad, Christy Wu as Chow An, Harry Groner as Mayor Wilkinson, Anthony Stewart Head as Giles, Harry Groner, Eliza Dushku as Faith, and Nathan Fillion as Caleb. My synopsis this week reads: Faith and the Potentials discover an element of the first plan and launch a preemptive strike. Buffy brawls with Caleb.
Well, mine's similar, but it is a bit different. Mine reads, Faith and the Potentials search underground for a weapon, while Buffy confronts Caleb at the vineyard.
Okay.
I refuse to say vineyard.
That's fine. You do you, boo. We open at the Summers home, and all those backstabbing sons of bitches are sitting around talking about what they're going to do now that they don't have Buffy making decisions for them.
She's sitting around Buffy's table. Okay.
She's literally been gone for like 3 hours, and they already don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, because they got the mortgage bill, and they're like, who's paying this? And, yeah.
Yeah, so they're sitting around debating and arguing, and then the power goes out, and Faith surmises that must mean that all the workers at the power company have taken their leave of Sunnydale. In the meantime, we cut to Buffy, who is walking the streets of Sunnydale, watching people load up their cars and head on out of the city, and she ends up breaking into a house that she thought was empty, but the occupant is still living there, and he's all like, you can't just kick me out of my house. Or she starts to talk to him about how he should probably get out of town, and he's like, you can't just kick me out of my house. And she's like, why not? That's what all the cool kids are doing these days. And he looks to be taking his leave of the home as Buffy wanders into the kitchen and opens... as she's wandering into the kitchen, she's like, it's not your home. It's not even your town anymore. And she's finally in the kitchen, and she opens the refrigerator door and looks inside, and then looks back in the direction of where the homeowner was and asks if he has any tab. And that's our cold open. We'll follow. Roll credits.
And he had a shotgun, by the way.
He did, yes.
And he opted instead to bitch out and run out screaming of his own home. James.
Yes.
The bitchery in these last couple of episodes are just getting to me. We cut back to the monastery that we were in the last episode, and Andrew and Spike are still there. Why? Because it's daytime, and they have to wait for nighttime so that Spike does not combust as they drive home. And in the meantime, Andrew is driving Spike insane because he won't shut the fuck up. And Spike is worrying about Buffy for reasons I don't really know. I mean, pretty sure Buffy can take care of herself. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, you need to do that at least once a week. If you don't do that at least once a week, it's not really a Slade podcast. Where are we at? Cut back to the Sumer's home, and we're down in the basement, and Faith and the others are talking about their plans. You know, the enemies, Caleb, you know, everybody who's their enemy right now, and Kennedy's wanting to, like, they're all just talking over each other, and it's a clusterfuck. And finally, Faith steps up, and she's like, yeah, so everybody shut the fuck up. I'm in charge now. This is what you wanted, so I'm the leader. And finally, someone told Kennedy to shut the fuck up. God, I've hated this bitch since the first episode she was introduced in. And I will hate her until the end. I still hate her. 23 years later, I still hate her. Let's see. So she decides that they should go after the bringers, she being Faith, pronouns, pal. Decides they should go after the bringers. Faith's big plan is, let's kidnap one of the bringers, and we will make it talk and give us information about the first and Caleb.
Yes.
And I was like, wow. Now I know why Faith has never been in charge of anything. Then we cut to Kennedy, who's walking alone in an alley, in a dark alley. And I'm like, yes, I finally killed this bitch.
Darlene, when the scene started, she goes, well, this is smart. And then she was like, well, hopefully Kennedy will die.
Thank you. So I'm not the only one that just fucking hates this chick. Like, fuck.
Oh, I can't stand Kennedy. I think that's pretty much fandom wide.
Yeah, she's just... I gotta be honest, I don't even like the actress. Like, I hate the character, and I'm not a fan of the actress. So, Anyway, out of nowhere in this shadow comes, or in the shadowy alley, comes a bringer. And as he attempts to attack her, the Scoobs fucking Giles like lassos it around the neck from like 30 feet away. I was like, yeah. Okay, fucking, I guess we have fucking the Lone Ranger over here. And they all grab it and beat it up and take it back to the house to interrogate. They cut their own eyes out, but I'm sure they're going to be easy to break. So they get it back to the house, only to discover that the motherfucker has no tongue and therefore cannot speak.
Yes.
So Dawn, all of a sudden, is this, just like in this season, all of a sudden she's this witch expert. She suggests a spell she had heard about in an old Turkish text. Yeah. Dawn, the girl who was probably worse in school than Buffy, but now she's reading Turkish texts. Some kind of a communication spell, basically, where it would allow, it was meant originally for people to be able to speak with their dying loved ones who were unable to speak, but it could be useful in this circumstance. And Willow's like, yeah, man, okay, I'll get some supplies, and yeah, we'll talk to the bringer all up in here. So Spike and Andrew return. It is now nighttime. And Spike asks about Buffy. And Willow, very shittily, tries to explain that there was a slight disagreement, and Buffy decided to leave for just a little while. And she took a little time off. And Spike, of course, is like, yeah, right. In the middle of the fucking apocalypse, she decided to go have a vacation.
She just decided to fuck off.
Yeah. And so he puts it all together, pretty quickly. And And so he snaps at him, basically saying what all the audience was already thinking, that they're a bunch of ungrateful fucking cunts. And then Faith has to run her dick licker. And this is the one time where I'm like, oh my God, I hope Spike... I don't like violence against women, obviously, especially from a man. But in this instance, I was like, oh my God, I hope Spike fucks her up. Just beats the brakes off of her. So they do begin fighting. And neither one of them really have the upper hand. Spike eventually just leaves. He's like, yeah, fuck all you people. If I'm gonna be standing with anybody in the apocalypse, it ain't gonna be none of you fucking useless bitches. So he catches Buffy's scent and goes off in search of her. Then we cut back down to the basement where Willow uses this communication spell. It's just a walkie-talkie. She puts one in his pocket, and then she stands over and she's like, Mr. Bringer, can you hear me? Over. And then he's like, fuck you, bitch. I ain't talking. Over. No, so she just says this real simple little whatever Turkish phrase, and all of a sudden Andrew like snaps up, and they realize he's speaking for the bringer through this spell, and the bringer says basically that they are everywhere. They're preparing for battle. They're building an arsenal beneath the dirt at the furthest edge of town. And then he's just taunting them and basically fucking with them. And Giles just nonchalantly walks over and cuts its throat. And I was like, yeah. And I may have dribbled just a little bit inside my pants.
Wow.
When that happened. Yeah. Oh, come on. We know you did. You're a Giles lover.
So.
You fully completed, don't lie. So I was like, there's Ripper. Oh, yeah. And, so, and that breaks the spell when he cuts the bringer's throat. And, Spike's like, or Andrew's like, fuck, that was creepy. That could have magically beheaded me.
Yeah.
And Giles is like, oh, if only. So Spike finally finds the house where Buffy is. Sorry. Had to have a drink of a beverage. So he goes in the house and finds her curled up in the bed in the bedroom, and he's like, yeah, I can totally just come in here. Don't you see that as kind of a problem? And he's saying all kinds of stuff, and she's not answering. She's just laying there like a lump. He tells her about the vineyard, the things they found, what they found out at the monastery and whatnot.
Which
basically says,
this doesn't make sense to me either. Like, they found that inscription at the monastery, and somehow Spike takes that to mean that Buffy was right, that Caleb is protecting something at the vineyard. Like,
yeah, because my immediate thing was, oh, there's something here at this monastery,
right?
That they need to go back, like that he needs to go back and tell Buffy about. Then they can both go back to the monastery and find whatever this thing is. But somehow, through the magic of plot armor, no, they've somehow come to the conclusion that said item is at the vineyard. And so he tells her, so you were right. And Buffy's being all emo, and she's like, was I though? And he's like, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm too old for these people. So he has to try to convince her that, Yes, you were right. No, you shouldn't listen to them. Yes, they're all cunts. You're the only one that's never given up, and you're the only one that's always right, and that wins in the end. What he should have also said was, literally everyone at that house right now, literally all of them would be dead if it weren't for you. Each one of them. So we cut back to the Sumer's residence. And Giles and Faith are looking over a map to kind of search through, find a way through the sewers that like the Bringers would probably use to, as like a hideout, to find where that furthest edge of the city is that the Bringer was talking about. And we cut upstairs to Faith, who's in... Is that Buffy's room? She's taking over Buffy's room. Is that Buffy's room?
I believe it is Buffy's room, yes.
So that's really douchey. Not only take over her house and her job, but also take her bedroom. Damn.
Right.
When Mayor Richie Wilkins appears.
Mayor Little Dicky Wilkins.
Who we have not seen since season 3. Yeah, no, he hasn't been back at all in flashbacks or anything, I don't think.
I know for sure he was in the first episode of this season. He was one of the forms that the first took in the very first episode.
Okay. Well, so he's back, and he immediately starts mind-fucking Faith. To me, this scene just shows how still fucked up Faith is. Because he's still able, even though this isn't the real Mayor Wilkins, he is still able to manipulate the shit out of Faith. And you can just see in her expressions and whatnot that she's just completely mind-fucking discombobulated. And he's all, talking smack about Buffy and, you got to watch out for her because she's a dangerous threat. She's already tried to kill you once. And I'm like, fuck yeah, she should have finished the job, let's be honest. So anyway, meanwhile, back to Spike and Buffy. He's still trying to convince her that she's the one, And she starts talking about how she detached herself from the potentials and, how detaching herself from people is what she always does and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, you're the Slayer. You kind of have to. And he talks about how much he admires her but this isn't about his feelings, and he says he knows, every side of her and all the years of his unlife. She's the only thing that he's ever been sure of. And that somehow touches her, and she sheds a tear, and he goes to leave, and she asks him to stay, and so he goes and lays on the bed, and they do a little spooning. And I'm like, do we really have time? It's the fucking what are we doing? What is everybody using for brains in this fucking town? But she's got to have some cuddle time, James. Cut back to Faith, and Robin of Loxley interrupts, and Mayor Wilkins disappears like a fucking fart in the church. And they start talking about, the first and how he has visited them both and always, takes the form of someone, that they love or that's important to them or whatever. And then they both kind of talk about, their apprehension about the upcoming battle. And Faith immediately does what Faith does and turns it sexual. And they start fucking. On Buffy's bed. It's like, wow, Faith. Wow. I expect more from you, frankly. Just then, Willow returns to her room to find Kennedy waiting for her in a sexual way. She has got everyone else out of their bedroom and made them go sleep somewhere else so that they can do their fuckery, you know. I don't know, dude. I just so yeah, she's worried about losing control, Willow that is, and blah blah blah, and Kennedy convinces her that everything's okay and she'll be Willow's anchor. And I'm like, yeah, you're like an anchor around the fucking neck. I know that. But then we cut back to Buffy and Spike, and they're just holding each other, and there's Anya and Xander, then there's Faith and Robin, and Willow and Kitty. Everybody's fucking. It's just a fuck fest. It's a giant fuck fest.
Except for Buffy and Spike.
Well, yeah, Buffy and Spike are just laying there.
Yeah.
In the dark. Creepily. But everybody else is fucking. And because, again, that's something, just like when you watch any 80s action movies, like right in the middle of, you know, chaos and apocalypse, you gotta have a fuck scene. Let's see. So then we cut to the first, who is talking to Caleb about the gang, and that she can feel them, that they're all, you know, taking comfort in each other. She somehow she can basically, the first can feel that they're fucking. Everybody's fucking. Caleb's like, damn. So he goes and fucks a bringer.
Actually, he's disgusted by it.
No, yeah, but he goes and fucks a bringer. And the bringer can't even scream out rape because he has no tongue. So he just has to take it and cry quietly.
I did like how the first here was like she says that, well, because it's in Buffy's form, the first is like, I'd love to feel my hands around a neck as it snaps. Yeah.
And I was like, sweet, me too. That's what I think about all the time. So the next morning, Faith, you know, everybody, now that everyone has concluded their fucking, Faith is giving out the orders to the gang. She sends some to go find Buffy, which I'm like, oh, now you think of that. And she just says, well, you know, don't bother her, just, you know, get some eyes on her and just make sure she's okay and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, like, she doesn't even want Buffy's help. She just wants to make sure that she's okay.
Yeah. So she sends, what is it? It's Willow and Xander she sends for that, right? Yeah.
And Dawn.
And Dawn, yeah. And then the rest are going to go to help her to investigate in the sewers and try to find this place where there's a stockpile of weapons. So then Spike wakes up and finds that Buffy has already left and left him a note. And he reads the note and it says, it's just this. It's just a drawing of a middle finger. And he's like, damn, again. So we cut to the vineyard. And what's happening there, Mario?
Caleb and the first are conversing about the progress they're making. But clearly the first is not being very patient and is concerned about Buffy getting a hold of whatever it is they have. And at that moment, a bringer comes tumbling down the stairs into the cellar where they are, and Buffy is standing at the top, and she's like, hello, I hear you have something of mine. And she comes down into the cellar and basically goads Caleb into a fight, but instead of beating the brakes off of her this time, she deftly avoids all of his attacks. And then we cut to the sewers, and Faith and all the potentials stumble upon...
No, you had it right. All the pretenders.
I was going to say potentials.
All the potentials.
And all the potentials stumble across the cache of weapons that the bringers have accumulated and stored away. But that's not all they've found. They've also found some bringers. And fisticuffs ensue.
Fisticuffs do ensue. They do, in fact, ensue.
Yes. As Buffy and Caleb are engaged in kung fu fighting, a trap door is revealed behind a barrel. And Buffy dives through it, at which point we cut back to Faith and the potentials battling the bringers, who they all kill. They, being Faith and the potentials, kill the bringers that had attacked them.
I wanted to bring that up, by the way. Like, we see potentials and shit, like they'll get and they're just straight up fucking impaling these. Like, there ain't no more like, let's knock them out. They're fucking skewering them, stabbing them.
Yeah.
They're just straight up killing them.
Yeah. As the fight ends, Kennedy discovers a stairway leading to an area below the sewers. And we cut back to Buffy in the cellar of the vineyard?
The hidden room of the cellar in the cellar? Yeah.
And she sees a weapon embedded in a rock. It appears to be battle axe on one end and stake on the other. And it is embedded in this big rock. That we should mention, throughout earlier the episode, we kept getting glimpses of the bringers like chiseling away at this big rock,
using every power tool they somehow with no eyes to try to remove this weapon.
Well, and unveil it, because it was covered in the rock.
Yeah, it was buried like a mafia snitch that got buried in concrete.
And then we cut back to Faith, who sees a locked metal box in the area below the sewers, and she kicks the lock on the box, breaking it, and opens it, only to discover a ticking bomb inside. And she yells at everyone to take cover, and that is our cold open. Or, I'm sorry.
That is not our cold open.
That is the end of our episode.
Yes,
Roll
33.
credits.
We're 33 minutes in, James, and we are already done with the episode.
Yeah. Let's see. Do I have any tidbits? So this is the first time as viewers that we are seeing this weapon. It is a scythe.
It is not a scythe. I am going to go into deep discussion about that. There is nothing about this weapon that is scythe-like.
They refer to it as a scythe.
Yes, and I hate them for that to this very day.
But fans who are following the comics at the time will recognize that this weapon was introduced almost a year earlier in the Tales of the Slayer ongoing comic. Yes. Let's see. Do I have anything else? Nope. Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to play everyone's favorite game, Body Count?
I don't think there's any way of truly knowing, because we don't know how many of those bringers went down. I don't care what anybody says. No one knows for sure. So I'm going to say 7.
5.
Yeah.
You're close.
Yeah.
Our music this week, Heather Nova with It's Only Love. And as always, our original score by Little Bobby Duncan.
BD
Dunks. Jeremy,
yes, sir.
would you please tell me and our lovely audience, on our sliding scale of 1 to 5, how many scythes that aren't scythes do you give this episode?
This it's slightly better than last week. It's a 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah, it's slightly better than last week. Still not, still not the 3s and the 4s of before. But it is first of all, not just this podcast revisiting of the episode, but the episode itself goes quickly. At least it did to me. I was like, damn, that's... And so I've done this before, looked it up to see, was this a shorter episode? No, it was normal length episode, but it went quickly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's slightly better. There's a little bit more. We're definitely getting, we're definitely moving the overall plot forward for sure. She has now found this weapon, which we will discover is basically like a mythical Slayer weapon, super powerful, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, but it's still only a 2.5 because it's still got a lot of goofy silliness and just unnecessary. Like this, they were clearly filling time with this episode. There were so many things going on in this episode that could have happened off screen, and it could have had some more meat to the bone here. Like all the fucking and all the fucking around with the bringer, like so much wasted time, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it definitely had its issues, but I still say it was a bit better than last week's episode, which was just an anal polyp. So yeah, that's really all I got to say. I don't think there's anything more that needs to be said. It was an episode of Buffy.
It was definitely an episode of this season.
Yes. James, tell me and our fabulous audience on our sliding scale of 1 to 5, how many I had a stroke. How many bringers do you give this episode?
I am going to give this episode, man, I struggled. I was really tempted to go 1 again. but I can't do it because it's not as bad as last week's episode.
Yeah, it's a little better.
So I'm going to give it a 2. I'm going to give it a generous 2. Yeah, it's not that great an episode. I don't think it moves the plot ahead. Like this scythe reveal could have been, they could have shoehorned it into the beginning of the next episode. They could have, like, I don't know. I'll tell you what honestly could have elevated this episode higher than a 2 is if we didn't have the scenes of literally everybody fucking. Like if they had took out the Faith and Robin shit and the Willow and Kennedy shit and that brief scene of Xander and Anya getting it on again, like I probably wouldn't have as much issue giving it a 2 as I am having given. It's just unnecessary.
Well, it was clearly just filling time.
I don't even care for it in rewatching any show, really. Like season 2, like there's a lot of Duncan having sex in season 2 of Highlander. And it's just unnecessary. I think for the most part, and I'm no prude, like don't like anybody.
No, but I want more important and cool stuff. So let's just allude to the fucking,
right.
Like, oh, we fucked earlier, but in the meantime, I'm doing some stuff. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, anybody that knows me, anyone that's listened or watched to this podcast knows I'm not a prude, but I just don't need to see that stuff in my TV and movies. Like, you can imply it. Like, they could have had Faith and Robin start to make out there in the bedroom and then cut away. And
yeah, like they would back. like a daytime soap opera or something,
yeah,
you know.
Something.
Just be like, okay, we all know that they're fucking now, but we can go do something that can actually be fun to watch.
Yeah.
When is it ever fun to watch other people fucking unless you're doing it for masturbatorial porn purposes?
So yeah,
never. The answer is never.
I don't. It would be an easier two if it didn't include all of that. I just don't think it's necessary. But it's not as bad as last week's episode. It certainly makes way more sense than last week's episode.
yeah.
So yeah, I give it a generous 2 for this week.
So we can agree this was an episode of season 7 Buffy.
This was an episode of season 7 of Buffy, yes.
All right. James, BuffyRevisited.com. That's our website. You can get our email address link there, which is BuffyRevisited@gmail.com. Also, a link to our YouTube page where you can watch the video version of this very podcast at this very moment. Don't try to figure it out. You'll die.
Don't. Yeah. Your brain will melt and ooze.
Your tongue will fall out and you'll have no eyes and you'll be a bringer.
Yes, you'll be a bringer.
Yeah.
Yes. Just don't think too hard on it.
Otherwise, bro, next week, we are going to be getting into season 7, episode 21, End of Days, which is the penultimate episode of this entire television series.
Yes.
Which is hard to believe, James. We're only 2 episodes away from finishing this journey that we started 5 years ago or whatever it was, 4 years ago or whatever.
Yes, we are 2 episodes away from finishing this journey that we started 10 years ago.
It is hard for me to come to grips with the fact that we are only 2 episodes away from finishing this epic fellowship that we began 42 and a quarter years ago.
Yes. When I think about the fact that we are 2 episodes away from our journey there and back again, that we embarked on 72 and a half years ago, it just brings a tear to my eye.
I know it's emotional that the return of the king is about to occur. That we began 111.246 years ago.
Yes, it is. It's gut-wrenching. Wait, how many years ago did you say?
111.276, I think.
Okay. It is gut-wrenching that we are 2 episodes away from the desolation of Smog. Smaug? Is Smaug?
It's one of those weird names, yeah.
From the desolation of Smaug that we started 400 years ago.
Wow. Okay. That definitely escalated. Yeah, it's hard to believe, man. We're 2 episodes from finishing Buffy.
I didn't think we'd ever get here, if I'm being perfectly honest with you.
I never doubted we would get here except season 4 when all hell broke loose. I think we had like a 9-month fucking layoff there. Like, season 4 was a fucking mess. But once we got through that, yeah, I've never doubted we would get here. It's just, it should have not taken, obviously, as long as it did.
I think season 4 we were dealing with a lot of issues behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But also as good an idea as it seemed on the outset, I don't know that trying to cover Buffy and Angel simultaneously was the way to go.
It in my opinion, it was definitely not the way to go. I think that definitely hurt us. But we learned and we adapted, and we got this new routine, this new format that's worked out for us perfectly ever since then. Ever since then, the listeners have never had a single week where they haven't had an episode drop. We've had plenty of breaks and vacations and stuff, but the listeners, they had no idea. So
I have no idea.
We could be dead right now.
We could be dead, and they wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I will say, spoiler alert: next week's episode, pretty good.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Yeah. I also want to say that, just let everybody know now, there will not be any break between, that you guys will know of, between the end of Buffy and our beginning season 2 of Angel.
But we will have about a month and a half off.
Oh yeah, we'll have a break, but you guys will not know. I mean, when episode 22, the Chosen, the final episode of Buffy, when that drops for you guys, the very next week will be season 2, episode 1 of Angel. And because as you recall, if you're not a longtime listener, we have already done season 1 of Angel. You'll have to go back in our archives, and I believe that was with season 4 of Buffy.
Season 4 of Buffy, yes.
Yeah, you'll have to go back, but yeah, we have already covered season 1, so we will now be going into Angel, seasons 2, 3, 4, and 5. And, yeah, so, I don't know, it's just hard to believe that we're finally here.
Right, yeah.
And it only took us 11-8 years.
It only took us 11-8 years. I mean, with this new recording schedule, we should be done with Angel in like a year and a half.
Oh yeah, easily. Actually, quite a bit quicker. But as far as the way the episodes drop, one a week, it'll take about that. But yeah, it'll actually, in real time for you and I, it'll be much quicker than that.
Yeah, it'd be like 5 months.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah,
maybe a little less.
Yeah, because the way we're doing it now, we can knock out a season in a month.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. So yeah, for us it won't. For us it'll be like that.
Right. And then
a little peek inside my pants.
And then we'll take. So we'll roughly have like a year off between when we're done recording Angel and when we start recording whatever we're gonna revisit next.
Highlander.
Whatever that might be. Who knows? We don't know yet.
Whatever Highlander be.
Whenever we decide Highlander that we're going to revisit Highlander next Highlander.
Yeah. And then here we are, born to be kings.
Princes of the universe.
Without a doubt.
Fighting and free.
Fighting and free. Taking off my pants. Wait, no, sorry. Euro minutes. But anyway, yes. Or what I should say is, James, do you have anything that you want to say to wrap up this week's episode?
Nope.
We do not even have a full hour of an episode. It is
Sometimes
49 minutes.
Sometimes that happens.
There are going to be some unhappy folks this week, I would assume. But as I said, next week we're going to be jumping into Season 7, Episode 21, the penultimate episode of the Buffy television series, End of Days. Which, by the way, that was a shitty movie. The Schwarzenegger movie. Ugh. End of Days.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, it was ass. Total ass. Anyway, so until next week, I've been one of your hosts. I'm Jeremy.
I'm your other host, James.
Ta-ta.